Hi my dear friends, this is Yash from BeginFreely.net. Welcome to another session of Haskell programming language. Today I'm going to talk about tuples and teach you some useful function about them. There aren't many of them out there, but I try my best to teach you everything I already know. Let's see what we can find in there. Okay, I already write a lot of useful expression for you and load it to save some time. Okay, this is our first tuple. As you see, they are really similar to lists, but with a big difference. We can put different data with different type in them. As you see, if we get type of S, we have integer, character, list of integer, a tuple even with integer and list of character. But in list, we can just have data with single type, like this. Maybe it seems really good to you, but I recommend do not use them until you really need them. Why? Because we can't define, for example, an infinite tuple. We can have an infinite list like this and take 10 characters from it. Tuples aren't really a handy data type in Haskell. We can't even get this character easily, okay? We will talk about it this session, but if you want this character, you can easily, if you have a list, get it with this simple command. But you can't even pay attention, okay? You can't even write a general function and give it any type of tuple and it return you, for example, second character. It doesn't work in Haskell. Why? Because in Haskell, every function has very precise input type. You can give it another input type after you define it. Let me show you something. Okay, clear the screen. If you check type of n, it return you list of number. If check type of d, it return you list of number. Okay, type of both of them are same. Okay, but even you have simple tuple in different length, for example, like this 1, 2, 3. Maybe you see a as a tuple of number, but Haskell doesn't see them like you. Okay, it see them in different way. If you check type of them, okay, it return you a triple of number and a 4 tuple of number. So you can't give both of them to a function. You should define a function for each of them. Okay, so if you really want to get this character, you should define a function for a 4 tuple, just for 4 tuple. You can give it a pair, a triple, 5 tuple, or anything like that. You just can give it a 4 tuple and it return you just second character. Okay, you can't even write a general function for general tuple. Okay, there is a trick you can, for example, give a function, define a function, give a 4 tuple, and it return you different element of that. Okay, I show you that trick, but remember, you can't define a function work for any type of tuple. Okay, for example, Haskell already has this function. Okay, if you give it a pair like this, it return you first character and there is another function, it returns you second character, but it just works for list. If you give it a for tuple, it raises an error because this function just defined to work with pair, okay, or two tuple. Pair, two tuple, triple means three tuple, four tuple, five tuple, and the like. Okay, clear the screen. Okay, I see a function for you. This function give a for tuple and return third character. Okay, as you see, get underline third s. It's work for any tuple with length of 4. It just work for 4 tuple. Okay, it's not work, for example, triple, 5 tuple, or something like that. Okay, and there is a useful notation I want to talk about. Underline. Underline, it's very useful in Haskell. When you use underline, Haskell think your variable not really important to you. For example, if you define something like this and try to call this variable, Haskell raises an error because Haskell assign it and clear it after that. Okay, it's not very important. It's not important to Haskell, but you can define something like this. Okay, it's work in Haskell. But and alone on the line, it's not can use later in Haskell, but it's very useful. For example, we just care about third character here, so we can write it like this. But I think it's more readable because if someone look at your function, he can easily find out third character. It's really important to you. For example, maybe you don't want just get third character. You want get second and third and return some of them. Okay, it's really easy to see second and third character is important to you. Okay, both of them do the same, but I really think it's a better way to define this function. Okay, there is a trick. For example, if you really want have a function and it return you first element, second element, third element, fourth element, and so on, you should define 4 different functions. Okay, but there is a notation. It works for simple tuple. For example, work just for tuple of number, 4 tuple of number. Okay, you don't need to define for all of them data type structure. Okay, if you use this notation, you can define data type structure just once. Okay, you don't need, for example, define for all of them because all of them have same type with this notation. We talk about this notation later, but let me show you how to use it. Okay, B is a for tuple. For example, if you want get first element, you can use it this way. Okay, this is somehow a default variable, but because all of them have same type, if you use this trick, you not really need to define data type structure for all of them. You can, if you don't like this, I talk about this notation later. Okay, but if you don't feel happy with this notation, you can define them like this. Okay, both of them do the same. Okay, you can use underline and not use default. Let me change. Not use default structure, but you should define data type structure for all of them. Okay, In this way, you don't need to give your function just a tuple of number. Okay, this work for all type of tuples. For example, in the last notation, in this notation, if you give it, for example, s is rises and error, but in this notation, okay, in this notation, you can give it any tuple and it return you first character. Okay, but if you have a tuple of, for example, number or character, you can use this notation. But if you really, okay, have a tuple of number, why you should even use tuple? You can use list, okay? So I really recommend you don't use tuple until you really need them, okay? They're not very handy. As you see, we can't even get an element from them, okay? And that's it. Let me finish our session. I hope you enjoy my video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and share it with your friend. Take care of yourself until we meet again.